Welcome to another episode of Johnny Talks Football. Today I'm going to go over my bowl predictions for all the bowl games this season. Let's start with the Gildan, New Mexico Bowl, Arizona versus New Mexico. I'm picking Arizona to win this one. Royal Purple, Las Vegas Bowl, BYU versus Utah. I'm picking BYU to win this one. I think they have much more motivation than Utah does in this game. I think they'll be motivated to play the game all 60 minutes. Raycom Media Camella Bowl, Ohio versus Appalachian State. I'm going to pick Appalachian State to win this one. I don't know much about either of the teams, but I just think Appalachian State will be the better team that afternoon. San Jose State versus Georgia State. I'm picking Georgia State to win this one because personally I don't want San Jose State to win because they were one of the 5 and 7 teams that were selected to play in a bowl game because of the APR. APR means academic progress rate. R plus L Carrier New Orleans Bowl. Arkansas State versus Louisiana Tech. I'm picking Louisiana Tech because I think I think it's pretty much going to be a home game for them since it's in New Orleans in the Superdome. I think they'll have more of their fans show up than Arkansas State fans. The Miami Beach Bowl, West Kentucky versus South Florida. I'm going to pick West Kentucky to win this one because I think West Kentucky is a very underrated team. If we had a 64-team tournament, I think they would at least make it to the round of 32. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl, Akron versus Utah State. I don't know much about either of these teams. This is one of the ones I could get wrong, but I'm going to pick Utah State to win this one. Again, with all the games in the beginning of the bowl season, I don't really know much about a bunch of the teams. So that's usually the ones where I would think I would get incorrect because I never really watch them throughout the season. Marmot Boca Raton Bowl. I think that's how you pronounce it. Where do they come with all these bowl games? I'll never know. Toledo versus Temple. This is a very good matchup because both of these teams were ranked in the top 25 at some point in the season. Toledo upset Arkansas and Fayetteville, and Temple was undefeated for a certain point of the season. Then they lost to Notre Dame, and I think the wheels kind of just fell off for them a little bit. But I'm going to pick Temple in this one. I think Temple's defense is too good. I think they're very underrated. I know they're a group of 5 team, but I think they're a really good team this season. And I think those seniors, leaders on defense will want to finish strong for their careers and get a win in here. I think they're going to. San Diego County Credit Union Poinsettia Bowl, Boise State versus Northwestern. I'm picking Boise State to win this one. I just don't think Northern Illinois has been like a good football team for a while. So I'm going to pick Boise State to win this one because I have watched Boise State a couple times this season. I haven't watched Northern Illinois really at all. Maybe only one time. The GoDaddy Bowl, Georgia Southern versus Bowling Green. I'm going to pick Bowling Green in this one. I think the passing game for Bowling Green is going to be the difference in this game. So I'm going to pick Bowling Green to win this one. It's in Mobile, Alabama. Oh, maybe some Georgia Southern fans will be there. Like, it could be more Georgia Southern people than Bowling Green people. I think Bowling Green will win. Now, these are the Christmas Eve bowl games. I don't know if you really watch football on Christmas Eve, or for me, it's kind of like the Game Show Network. For me, I just watch that Christmas Eve because there's usually a marathon of all the good game shows of all time. But the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, Middle Tennessee versus Western Michigan. Now, if you watched that game last season, the Popeyes Bahamas Bowl, probably one of the craziest endings to a bowl game I've ever seen. With all those laterals, and they tried going for 2. Like, it was West Kentucky versus Central Michigan. Like, West Kentucky was up by, I don't know how much it was. They had an insurmountable lead, and then they blew it. They nearly blew the whole game away. Middle Tennessee versus Western Michigan. I'm going to pick Western Michigan to win this one. I just don't know why. It's nearly one of those flip of the coin games. Now the Hawaii Bowl, San Diego State versus Cincinnati. I wanted to pick Cincinnati, but I think San Diego State's running game will be the difference in this one. Like, usually this is the bowl game that's like a blowout win. Like, the Hawaii Bowls in the past have just been one-sided. St. Petersburg Bowl, Connecticut versus Marshall. I'm picking Marshall to win this one. I just don't think Connecticut is as good as a football team that people said they've been this year. I know they almost beat Missouri, but Missouri, the wheels just fell off Missouri this season. They just had too much negativity around that campus. the Sun Bowl, Miami versus Washington State. Now, I think this is going to be a great game, but I'm going to pick Washington State to win this one. I just don't think Miami is good enough to win this game. So I'm going to pick Washington State to win this one. I like that offense that Washington State runs. It's a classic Pac-12 offense, so I'm going to pick them to win this one. The Zaxby's Heart of Dallas Bowl, Washington versus Southern Miss. I'm picking Washington to win this one. No particular reason. It was kind of just one of those clip of the coin deals. New Era Pinstripe Bowl, Indiana versus Duke. This is in Yankee Stadium. It's in the Bronx. I'm picking Indiana to win this one because Indiana has actually been in a lot of games this season. They competed against Ohio State. They competed against Iowa. They competed against Michigan. Almost beat Michigan, actually. So I'm picking Indiana to win that one because Indiana is not a bad football team at all. I think Indiana might be a good team next year, but we'll see on that. Okay, next is the Camping World Independence Bowl, Tulsa versus Virginia Tech. I'm going to pick Virginia Tech in this one. This is Frank Beamer's last ever game as a head coach. I think Virginia Tech has the win for the Gipper mentality. I think they're going to send Frank Beamer off with a W. I like Virginia Tech to win by 14 points. The Foster Farms Bowl, UCLA versus Nebraska. This is in California, Santa Clara, California, so you might figure home field advantage for UCLA, but Nebraska fans love to travel to the bowl games, especially around this time of the year when it's either like 35 or like 10 degrees out. So you know Nebraska fans want to travel to that one. I'm going to pick UCLA to win this one. I just don't think Nebraska's just been that good this season. I said in the beginning of the year that they'd have a 10-win season, but really, Nebraska, you could have. You just had to finish against BYU, and Miami, you had to complete the comeback, and then Illinois, poor clock management, then Wisconsin. And then Northwestern, you just had to stop the run a couple times. Then Iowa, you just didn't have to throw 4 interceptions. You probably would have won the game. Maybe only 2 and you would have won. So there's 6 right there. Could have been 11. Could have been like at best 11-1. So I'm gonna pick UCLA to win this one. So I'm gonna pick them to win by maybe double digits. Nebraska, I don't know if you'll have a chance to win, but I think they'll fight for it. Military Bowl, Pittsburgh versus Navy. Both these teams are going to have a motivation to play. Pittsburgh for their running back, James Conner, who has been diagnosed with cancer. And Navy will probably want to win for their head coach, who's most likely going to take the BYU job. But I think in the end, Navy's going to win. I think that triple loss will be too much for Pittsburgh's defense. All right, the Quick Lane Bowl, Central Michigan versus Minnesota. This is one of my reluctant picks that I had. But I think Minnesota will win this one. Because Minnesota almost had a winning season, but they just couldn't finish the deal against Michigan. That would have brought them to 6-6. I believe they were one of the 3 teams that were 5-7 that got in because of the APR. I just don't think Central Michigan will get enough to stop Minnesota, but this is probably one I could be wrong at. The Armed Forces Bowl, California versus Air Force. I'm picking California to win this one. I just think the passing game's too well for Air Force to stop. But Air Force's running game is pretty good, but that's all they pretty much do is run the football. Russell Athletic Bowl, this is probably the best bowl game there is. It's not a playoff matchup or a New Year's 6. North Carolina versus Baylor. I'm going to pick North Carolina to win this one because they got all those seniors that want to finish their career strong, finish what they started. I'm going to say North Carolina's going to win. There's going to be lots of points in that one, let me just tell you that. The Home Loans Arizona Bowl, Nevada versus Colorado State. I'm picking Nevada, no particular reason, just one of those. I don't know much about them, so I just picked a random team. The Advocare V100 Texas Bowl, LSU Texas Tech. I like LSU to win this one because Texas Tech doesn't have a good defense. They're probably one of the worst in college football. And I think Leonard Fournette just has an advantage, just run right through him. And I think the LSU defense is too good. As good as Texas Tech's offense is, I just don't think they'll be good enough to get past LSU's defense. Now we're at the point of the college football playoff prediction, but I'll go back to that. We're nearly there. But first I got to break down these 4 games right here. Auburn versus Memphis in the Birmingham Bowl. I like Auburn to win this one. Memphis had a good season, but I don't think they're going to be good enough to beat an SEC-type defense. Belk Bowl, North Carolina State, Mississippi State. I like Mississippi State for that same reason that I like Auburn over Memphis. Just the SEC type of defense. Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl, Texas A&M versus Louisville. Though I gotta pick my Texas Aggies to win this one. That would just be bad fanship on my side if I did that. Although it wouldn't surprise me if Louisville won. Holiday Bowl, USC, Wisconsin. I'm going to pick USC to win this one. I just think USC has just gone through a lot, and they're going to want to win this game to just finish off a up and down kind of season. Because USC fired their head coach in the middle of the season, had the interim head coach. They officially hired that interim head coach to be the permanent head coach. And I think they're going to get this win to finish off a strong season. Now we're into the New Year's 6 games in the College Football Playoff, but I'm going to go back to them, save them for the end. Now the Outback Bowl, Northwestern versus Tennessee. I like Tennessee to win this one. I just think Tennessee just has a good running game. I don't think that Northwestern will be able to stop it. Buffalo Wild Wings, Citrus Bowl, Michigan versus Florida. Florida just has not looked good offensively in the last about 5 games of the season. So I like Michigan to win this one because I think Michigan's offense is going to be too good for Florida to stop. Because even if Florida does stop Michigan's offense, I just don't think Florida's good offensively to get anything done. So I like Michigan to win 17-13. Tax Slayer Bowl, Penn State versus Georgia. I like Georgia to win this one. Georgia, after firing Mark Richt, they'll be motivated to win for him. Because this is especially the group of seniors they have. They start off their career with Mark Richt. They'll want to win for him just to show that they still play for Georgia. They still support him. I don't know what I just said, but I'm just going to ignore it. Yeah, I like Georgia to win. The AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Kansas State versus Arkansas. I like Arkansas to win this one because Kansas State just has not looked good this season. Alamo Bowl, Oregon versus TCU. I like Oregon to win this one. Oregon's probably been one of the hottest teams in college football as of late. This is probably the worst season Oregon's had since the hire of Chip Kelly. But I think Oregon's just want to get this win just to regroup in the next season, as they'll be a contender next season. I will guarantee you that. The Model 6 Cactus Bowl, West Virginia versus Arizona State. I'm going to pick Arizona State to win this one because Arizona State's offense is really good. They got a great group of seniors, especially fifth-year senior quarterback Mike Bercovici. He's going to want to finish his career strong against West Virginia for a chance to win a bowl game. Even though bowl games aren't really that big of a deal, but they're more of a big of a deal than you think. So I like Arizona State to win this one. Although I think it's going to be a very high-scoring game. Now I was relaxed for a bit because I wanted to save some energy to talk about the New Year's 6 games. Let's start with the one on New Year's Eve. The Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, Houston versus Florida State. Now, Houston is going to go into this game with a lot to prove. They're going to want to prove that they can compete with the big-time Power 5 teams. They're going to be motivated enough to win this game. So I like Houston to upset Florida State 38-35. That is my upset of the bowl season so far. I got these mixed up. The Battle Frog Fiesta Bowl, Notre Dame versus Ohio State. I almost wanted to pick Notre Dame to win this one because I wasn't sure if C.J. Forsythe was going to play in this one. But it looks like he will play. But I like this to be a very low-scoring game. I don't think there's going to be a bunch of points in this one. In the end, though, I like Ohio State to pick up the 24-21 victory. The Rose Bowl game, the granddaddy of them all, Stanford versus Iowa. I'm picking Stanford to win this one. I just don't think Iowa's defense is good, but I don't think they'll be able to stop Christian McCaffrey. Because they weren't able to stop L.J. Scott on the final drive, that 22-play drive in the fourth quarter in the last 9.5 minutes. So I think Christian McCaffrey's going to have a field day on this Iowa defense. All-State Sugar Bowl, Oklahoma State versus Ole Miss. I like Ole Miss to win this one. I think they'll be motivated after last year's embarrassment in the New Year's 6 loss. I think they lost to TCU. I think it was like 49-3 or something like that. So they'll want to come out and they'll want to prove themselves. They're going to prove that they're not someone to mess around with this year, because they beat Alabama at Alabama this year. Even though they lost to Memphis, I think this team is still good. Compared to Oklahoma State's team, they just haven't looked good. They just didn't look good the last 2 games. They're starting off 10-0. All right, on to the big games. On to the big ones that everyone is going to want to talk about. Twitter's going to blow up on New Year's Eve. No, I don't mean that. I just mean people will talk about it so much. So I'm not the Illuminati or anything. The College Football Playoff, the first semifinal. The first one that's going to be played right after Houston, Florida State. Oklahoma versus Clemson. Now, Oklahoma is actually the favorite in this one, because Oklahoma's played more tougher teams. And ever since that loss against Texas, Oklahoma's just played like the best team in college football. So I like Oklahoma to beat Clemson in this one. I just don't think Clemson's played enough good teams all season to compete in these hard key games. And plus, Clemson should have lost a game. I don't know what it was. I don't know what game it was. They didn't play well against like South Carolina or ACC title game at the end. They almost blew it away. It wasn't for that referee calling an offsides. Yeah, so I like Oklahoma to win this one. I just think Oklahoma's offense is just too good for Clemson's defense to stop. So I'm going to pick Oklahoma to win. Actually, I'm going to pick Oklahoma by double digits. Anyway, the second one, Michigan State versus Alabama. Now, Alabama is a 9.5-point favorite in this one. But I think Alabama is going to win because they're going to do something on Michigan State that Ohio State couldn't do on them. And that's run the football with Derrick Henry. And Kenyon Drake, too. But if Michigan State wants to win this game, they're going to have to force Jake Coker to make some plays. Because they can't just... Because if they just hand the ball off 20 times a game, like 20 times in this one, Alabama's just going to run right through them. But Michigan State's not the team they're going to beat by like 9.5 to 10. So I'm going to pick Alabama to win by only 7 points. Anyway, those are my bowl game predictions. I'm in a bowl mania group this year, so if you want to join it on ESPN, you can. I'm actually going to leave a link in the description box. So if you want to join and try to beat me, go for it. I love having the opponents for bowl season. Right now, I think it's me and 4 other people in my group right now. So if you want to add to it, go ahead. I'm always open to a lot of opponents. The more, the better. But I should tell you, it's in confidence. So you got to rank them from 42 to 1. 42's most confident and 1's the least confident. Anyway, I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time.